There was a place outside Meridian on Highway 80 years ago. Folks called it Ma Shumates, though the sign said something else, you know. Club Caprice was a proper name, but nobody called it that. It was a bar and a pool hall with a jukebox in the back. Lucy May was a woman there, they called her Ma for short, and everybody knew her name from Meridian to Lauderdale Court. There were 3 little rooms beside the bar, like motels built in a row, and people came for different things, at least that's what they'd say they'd know. Oh, Ma Shumates on Highway 80, where the neon burned at night, where the whiskey met the jukebox and the stories sounded right. There were sinners, there were strangers, there were lonely hearts passing through, and everybody had a secret that they hoped nobody knew. Now one Tuesday night the law came in, but they weren't there to drink. The IRS and the Narcotics Bureau had more on their minds, I think. The sheriff brought his people, and they watched that place a while, with cameras catching customers and evidence on file. Then a woman met an undercover man and offered him a deal, $65 for her services, or so the story tells. They came back with a warrant, and 5 were taken in. The owner, 1 bartender, and 3 women working with him. Oh, Ma Shumates on Highway 80, where the neon burned at night, where the whiskey met the jukebox and the stories sounded right. There were sinners, there were strangers, there were lonely hearts passing through, and everybody had a secret that they hoped nobody knew. They said the women worked the bar and watched the pool hall too, and when the evening settled down they knew just what to do. Some folks came looking for a drink, some came looking for a game, and some came looking for something they didn't want to name. The charges made the papers, and the old place closed its doors. A little piece of Meridian wasn't there anymore. Years rolled on like they always do, and Highway 80 changed. The folks who'd been around back then still remembered Ma's old name. Now history can be funny, it remembers what it can. It writes down dates and buildings, but it seldom writes the man. It doesn't tell you who was lonely or who was trying to get by, or who drove past that building and wondered why. Ma Shumates passed in '93, and they laid her in the ground. But stories don't die quite that easy when they've made their way around. Some folks called her a businesswoman, some called the place a shame, but ask an old Meridian resident and little remember Ma's name. Oh, Ma Shumates on Highway 80, she's still there in people's minds, in the pool hall and the jukebox, in those long forgotten times. There were sinners, there were strangers, there were lonely hearts passing through, and everybody had a secret that they hope nobody knew. So if you're ever down Highway 80 and you wonder where it stood, just ask somebody old enough, they'll tell you if they could. And they'll smile and shake their head at the way those old days went. Then they'll say, you should have seen it when Ma Shumates was open.